Good Wednesday morning. Hey, everybody, this is Jeremy, and I'm coming at you once again with Redtired Podcast. And he was so fun yesterday. He's so animated, he's colorful, he's quirky, and well, by God, he's just plain fun. We've got our best little buddy with us back again today from Afghanistan, Big Bomber Bill Tenike. What's going on, Bill? How you doing?
Hey, man, nothing much. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm ready to have my world rock with knowledge. Let's get it.
Well, I hope I don't disappoint. How'd I do on that introduction?
Oh man, I thought it was great. You're not building me up too big. You're building me up just right. Right in that sweet spot.
I was kind of really flying off the cuff with that one. I didn't really know what I was going to say or how it was going to go, and then all of a sudden I realized I was right in the middle of Good Morning, and I thought, I got to say something smart.
Well, see, I'm such a modest guy, and you're so famous that if you would have been like, that's Bill, I would have been like, is that my name?
I would hardly call myself famous. That's a huge stretch. It's a huge overreach.
You're famous to me, buddy. That's all that counts. I'm okay.
That's good. That's okay. All right. So how's your day been going so far? What you been up to?
Man, went to the doctor. Went to the doctor's appointment.
Was it a psychologist?
You would have been like, he probably would have been like, oh boy, geez, boy, I have to spend 42 more minutes with this guy.
Like, an hour can be an excruciatingly long time, can't it?
It was for my asthma.
Oh,
but
okay.
Of course, it was from the VA, so I didn't know. So they were like, Mr. Tinnik, because they always mispronounce my last name. You need to show up at this place at this time. Oh, okay. And I showed up there and I was like, hi, I'm William. I'm here for my doctor's appointment. And they're like, okay. She's typing on her computer and I'm just kind of like, what am I here for? Exactly. She's like, oh, hold on, let me check. Cardiovascular, big science words, your asthma. Oh, okay, cool. And then I got Whataburger. And I came.
Of course you did.
Whataburger. It's great.
It didn't take very long for your brother to get wind of you being put onto a podcast. In fact, I got a text message just this morning from your brother.
The little brother.
Yeah, the quote unquote little brother.
Little brother comes up to here next to me.
Stands what, at 6'5"? Is that right?
It's kind of one of those things. I didn't know they stacked crap that high.
Oh,
God, I'm gonna send him some lotion. Be like, I got you for that burn.
Oh, that's sick.
And he'd be like, what's this for?
Yep. So it did take him a while, but he finally responded at 10 o'clock this morning in our little group chat. So, because I sent it out and let everybody know, hey, Bill's going to be famous. And his first response was, oh, do I get to do an interview when I come down? And I thought, well, you know what the hell? Why not?
Let's put him in the hot seat. Let's just hit him with the dumbest questions. He's going to sit down and you're going to give him that big interview, right? And I'm going to be like, all right. And we're like, all right, first question we got for you, Jim. First couple of questions for you. All right. Will Smith, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump. Marry one, kill one,
don't
sleep
do
with
it.
One.
Oh. Go. Like, don't do it. Oh.
Bill, I will kick you out.
So, Jake, you're in the Air Force.
You should just keep mispronouncing the Air Force and be like Aero Force.
The Army. Yeah. So the Army Air Corps has a real amazing history. And how do you feel about being separated from the Army back in the 50s?
Got him. And of course, while you're answering this, while you're asking him all these questions, I'm just going to be like this with a notepad. Yes. Well, and kind of like do my little chime in, like I'm all professional or something. Really, it's just a sketch of a stick man eating a sandwich.
You're drawing up your plans for lunch. Go to Chinese buffet.
Salad.
Eat Chinese food.
Scratch salad. No, I don't need a salad. I'm going to get an egg drop soup.
Scratch the salad out of the plan. What are you crossing off there, Doc? What? Nothing.
Mind your own business.
Your own business, son. So, something I wanted to talk to you about. I don't know what brought it up to my attention. There's nothing really specifically that came out in the news other than, well, really nothing came out in the news about this. It's just that we have a very strange, um, complete lack of awareness when it comes to consumer goods and consumer products, and we talk a lot about consumer products because we all need them, right?
Yeah.
So, I want to ask you something. You ever heard of JD Power and Associates?
Now, um, about my extent of them is, aren't they the people that when they are like, they have like a commercial, it's like, we won the JD Power and Associates award 5 times in a row or something like that, right?
Correct.
That's about the extent. And whenever they said it, I'm like, great, I don't know who those people are. Probably not going to buy your car still, but
Okay, a simple yes or no would have sufficed, but that's good
no.
too. Now, JD Power and Associates is it's essentially a marketing brand. It's a company that's all about licensing, and somehow they've been able to build their company up into this marketing and this licensing strategy where they essentially sell these awards to the car makers. And
They
and
sell them.
they sell them.
So essentially, they're buying their award.
That's correct.
So
So
if
for
selling cars was a baseball game, they could buy the participation award.
that's a
Does that
good
make
parallel. You could do that.
I made a good pair. Oh,
You made a
boy.
good parallel. Very good. Good job, Bill. See,
Yay.
I knew you'd crack out of your shell. All you had to do is just bring you on
Woo!
and razz you a little bit.
Razzle dazzle.
So let me paint a picture here for you.
All right.
Okay, so I did my homework because that's what I do. We wouldn't be prepared for this if we weren't doing our homework, right? So let's
Nerd.
go in and nerd. How dare you present information?
How dare you be knowledgeable?
So I went back and I did look at some of the JD Power and Associates awards for 2019.
Okay.
And I had to laugh at some of the things that came out according to their. So, for example,
okay,
the most dependable cars for 2019. The winners were the 2016 Buick Verano, the 2016 Buick LaCrosse, the 2016 BMW X3, and the 2016 Chevy Equinox. Those cars have only been on the road for maybe 3 years. How can you really give them awards for dependability?
I don't know nothing about cars. You know me. I don't know nothing about cars.
Yeah, no, you used to drive a Jeep.
In my driveway, hey, the old school Jeep took a head-on collision, and I lived and was like, wow.
You were going 30 miles an hour. Let's not make a big deal out of this.
But the guy who hit me was going like 50 to the pawn shop, probably to buy drugs. But
okay.
Wow. But I don't know much about cars, but right now in my driveway I have that G35
an Infinity.
It's from 2008 and it runs great. And coming from a Dodge 1997 single cab Dodge to that, I was like, am I in the space shuttle? Look at all these buttons. Like, wow. Like, it's still a reliable car. And I mean, saying that, I mean, you're completely 110% right. It's been on the road for 3 years. So how can you really say, it's really reliable with 100% certainty?
I don't know, because if you look at a lot of the typical powertrain warranties that come with modern vehicles, it's 3 years and 36,000 miles. Now, 36,000 miles is not that much. You could knock that if you're in sales. Good God, you could knock that out in a year. And so that doesn't really speak a whole lot of confidence to me in the warranties. Whereas, like, if you were to go to, say, Tesla, and I'm not advocating for electric cars because I think that that's a stupid avenue as well, and we'll go into that at another time. or you can go back and listen to some of the other podcasts that we've done. I don't think that electric cars is going to be the saving grace for the climate.
Mhm.
But if you look at the Tesla, the way that Elon Musk markets the Tesla, one of the things that he draws specific attention to is the fact that these things are built for longevity. You're going to replace the batteries long before you ever have to worry about any kind of powertrain issues or
Yeah.
They're built for like million miles. Now we still have yet to see that, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. Toyota put out a car that one YouTuber actually recorded his video of his Toyota product. I think it was actually a Lexus, which is a Toyota product, and it crossed the 1,000,000-mile threshold. And it's beat up, it's banged up, it's leaking every fluid that you could possibly leak, but it still runs.
Yeah.
Try doing that with a Chevy, by the way. So my argument for this whole thing is like, wait a minute, if you're a PR firm, a marketing firm, and you're into licensing, why should I trust you for vehicle information?
From what you're already telling me, it's not really, it doesn't really make sense, because I never knew anything with JD Power and Associates. Again, like I said, about the best I could put to them, is I guess they do something with cars, because that's what I'd see them on, as car dealerships. My standard for, and I don't know if this example I have helps.
Just throw it out there.
Yeah, but when it comes to something like that, with testing out your cars, or testing out something like that, I think back on a show I watched one day, is talking about tanks. I like my tanks, and they were talking about the best tanks in the world, and they counted from the creation 1920s to present. Best tanks in the world. What are they go? The best tank in the world got rated it was a tank from 1940. It's a T-34.
Okay.
And they did all this on it. They covered how many were built, how long did it serve for, was it reliable, fear factor, what did it do, and that tank single-handedly got all these high-ranking markings. Now you're starting to think, well, that's from 1940. We got, it's 2018. 19. We got better tanks. Well, they simply said we can't really accurately give you what tank's the best in the world, because none of these tanks have actually done anything. These newer tanks, they haven't really faced off with each other. They haven't been put through the same challenges.
Sure.
Haven't gone off, so we can't really accurately say with 110% that tank is the best tank in the world. It's definitely like a runner-up, but this has proven itself. And so I apply that to this, and it's like, we haven't given it these long-term tests. We haven't done this. Does that make sense?
In this scenario, especially where we're talking about the longevity of the vehicle, and JD Power actually giving awards for the longevity of these vehicles and the dependability of these. I mean, like, what are you really doing here to be able to test this vehicle over a 3-year period? But it gets worse. So let's dive into it. I've got some articles that that I pulled up, and if you will, these are going to provide a little more evidence to my stance that JD Power is a complete crock.
Okay.
All these articles are going to be linked in the description below. You're welcome, Mike. You don't know about that yet, do you?
My name's Bill.
Your name is Bill. Another guy that I served with contacted me asking for some of the articles, and so I promised him that I would make sure that they all make it into the description from this point forward if I utilize an article. And so every time that I cite that article is in the description, I shout out to Mike. You're welcome, Mike. All right, so first article I've got, this one came from I think it was Truth in Advertising. All right, and it was talking about the Chevy's JD Power Dependability Awards. All right, so the article reads as follows: if you aren't already annoyed at how this Chevrolet commercial seems like it's about to end twice, but instead it lingers on, perhaps the bait and switch will do the trick. That's because the 2018 model and the 2018 models in the ad aren't proven vehicles that won the JD Power Associates Dependability Awards. As a disclaimer points out, the cars that won the awards are 2013, 2014, and 2015 model years. They are basically saying that, excuse me, this is a quote, sorry, from a reader, Timothy B. They are basically saying that we were awarded, so you might as well just believe that we will be again. Does that make sense so far? In reality, we won't know if any of the 2018 models win a JD Power Dependability Award until 2021, as the study that determines the winners examines issues reported by original owners of the 3-year-old vehicles. Though it appears that car troubles in the last year of ownership weigh more heavily, JD Power adds, this study measures car reliability by analyzing problems experienced over the past 12 months of ownership. So that's the first thing that you should know about Chevrolet's JD Power Dependability Awards. The second, and this is a big one, the companies pay JD Power, quote, a hefty amount of cash, according to sfgate.com, which I've linked in the article in the description below. You're welcome, Mike. For the right to use their market research firm name in its ads and for access to the valuable information that JD Power's studies have been putting out. An FAQ on JD Power's website addresses how companies fund, own, and purchase its studies. This quote reads as follows: our syndicated studies are funded and owned by the company and based on the aggregated responses of consumer perceptions of product quality and customer satisfaction, not the opinions of JD Power. After the study results are published, manufacturers, retailers, suppliers, and other industry participants can choose whether or not to purchase the study. So what that means, I'm going to dumb this down for you, break it down from Spanish to English or Greek to Hebrew, if you will.
Please.
Basically, JD Power does this little thing where they say, hey, how did you like your vehicle? You've owned it for a couple of years. Have you had any problems? Take this survey for us. They take all of that information, they aggregate it into one complete study, and then they say, okay, consumers were most happy with this Chevy or this Dodge or this Ford or this Toyota, right? Okay. So what they're doing is they're pulling information from people who are just willy-nilly giving it, and then they're turning around and they're selling it right back to the car manufacturers in hopes that they'll buy the study so that they become eligible to win a JD Power award, which JD Power then charges them for.
That really makes no sense.
They've taken information from consumers, sold it to the car company, and then if the car company wins a JD Power award, they charge them for that as well. Let me continue. Chevy's bait and switch is reminiscent of the 2016 Tina.org investigation into the advertising of wine ratings in liquor stores. It found that the bottle that received the great rating is often not the bottle that's for sale on the shelf. There were even some that had not been rated at all. Just like Chevrolet's 2018 models, these wines had yet to prove themselves. So 2018 year wines, what same 2018 year cars, right?
Okay.
They haven't existed long enough to be able to be called dependable. So there's a great big hole in the study with JD Power. Are you following me now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so here's another article for you. This one comes from consumerreports.org. To quote them, JD Power and Associates reportedly charge hundreds of thousands of dollars to car makers just for access to their survey results, and then charge them another big time fee for the right to mention their awards in advertising. Additionally, they provide separate, equally priced service where they help car companies make improvements that should result in higher ratings. To paint this picture with a very broad brush.
Let's go, Picasso. Paint it for me.
I'm JD Power and you're Chevrolet. Okay. Hey, Chevy. Listen, we'd really like you to do a lot better in the ratings next year. So here's what we're going to do for you. We want you to go ahead and make sure that you improve the function of the Bluetooth, because it's been having some trouble cutting in and out, and people are kind of complaining about it. And then maybe next year you'll get the dependability award. Okay. That'll be $500.
What? That sounds.
Pay us.
Shut up! Get my money.
All right. So by comparison, there is Consumer Reports. Consumer Reports purchases all their test vehicles from dealers, does all of its own testing, not consumer testing, that do their own testing, and they refuse to sell or allow the use of their ratings for use by car companies. And of course, this is coming from Consumer Reports, so they're going to be a little bit of bias there, but take it for what it's worth. Regardless, do you think that the amount of money that car companies pay to use awards and ratings like those that I've just mentioned, cast doubts on the award's validity? Is it possible to maintain impartiality towards a company that pays you to rate them?
This is why I'm a terrible salesman. I don't think any of this is right. I don't know what's going on. Like, it's just like,
This is sketchy.
this is it.
You're selling information to people and then selling your awards for the information.
And on top of that, when you described your first article about they had gotten the award, but they gotten it for a different product at a different time, so just expect us to get my. All I was imagining was me sitting there going, I got the participation award in Little League, so I should play in the Major League baseball game, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly right. This is basically what we expect. We expect Bill to win a major league award someday because, well, he was pretty cool in Little League.
Yeah, he hit a ball one day. It was great. And then he
Yeah.
got hit by a ball. It was great.
Yeah, and so that's what the disclaimer that reads on that Chevy commercial actually says is, hey, here's what we've come to expect of Chevy. So even though we're citing that we won an award from JD Power, we actually didn't, but we expect to because we paid them and they kind of give us a heads up. And so we're pretty sure we got this one in the bag. Now, would you want to do business with anybody who uses tactics like that?
Yeah, first off, if you have to put a disclaimer on there specifically for that, for something like that, wording that, that's shady. And wow.
And it's reminiscent, or rather, it's evidence of why GM, General Motors, is doing so poorly in the United States that they feel like they have to ship jobs back to Mexico. That's why they just had, and I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but they just had another union strike where GM was, the union members are all pissed off again. God knows about what this time because they're union and boo-hoo freaking cry me a river. But GM's not paying us enough money. And I'm like, you got to kind of take some things into consideration here, union workers. If GM's not paying you enough money, maybe it's because they don't have a whole lot of money left from paying JD Power. Maybe they're not making all that much money because of razor thin profit margins because of, I don't know, say California regulations.
Careful, Jeremy. That's dangerous thinking.
Actually, it's in-depth thinking, but thank you.
In depth.
So the third article, the one I cited earlier, the San Francisco, or the SF gate, I believe it's the San Francisco gate. Let me quote this one, okay? This one says, take a look at any ad for cars, cell phones these days, and you'll see one or more of the awards from JD Power and Associates suggesting a track record of quality and reliability. Some promotions fairly drip with JD Power honors, such as General Motors, who has been running a full-page ad in newspapers across the country depicting no fewer than 16 JD Power awards and not a single car or truck in the ad. And that's just fine, financially speaking, with JD Power. For the uninitiated, JD Power is a Southern California market researcher that studies customer satisfaction in a wide variety of industries, from cars and cell phones to healthcare and utilities. Starting to see a bigger problem here.
Mm-hmm.
The company funds and performs its own research and then makes its extensive data available for a price to the industries covered. Those industries, in turn, may use JD Power's findings in their marketing campaigns as independent proof that consumers can rely on their products and services. But here are a couple of the things that most people might not know. The companies evaluated by JD Power, in fact, pay the firm to use its name in their ads, and a hefty amount of cash is said to be changing hands. Also, companies honored by JD Power with top rankings routinely pay an additional sum for extra copies of its foot high 12-inch award, the trophy, the JD Power trophy. Yes, they're actually buying these hunks of glass. I don't know why. Unbelievable. Jamie Power, the firm's executive vice president and son of founder James David Power, told me that he's not worried about perceived conflict arising from JD Power and Associates taking money from the companies that it judges. He says, "We have walls set up in our organization that separate the different business divisions from these issues. But consumer advocates say that it's difficult to maintain the public's trust if you enjoy a financial relationship with the firms that you claim to be independently reviewing. Quote, even if the whole thing is on the up and up, then there's at the very least, an appearance of impropriety," said Ken I'm going to butcher this guy's name. I'm sorry in advance. Ken McEldowney, executive director of consumer actions in San Francisco. Some consumers might wonder if JD Power gives awards only to companies that can pay thousands of dollars in licensing fees. For this reason, McEldowney said that the organization forbids companies to use consumers' actions names in marketing in materials that reference the group studies of telephone and credit card pricing. Consumer Reports, the granddaddy of watchdog publications, also won't let the companies use its name in marketing materials. So the ones that we just cited, Consumer Reports is like, no, you're not going to use our name for this. We're not going to do that. Ethical Dilemma raising up, hey, hello, yeah, we can't do that. JD Power and Associates says, I'll do it.
I'm not above that. I can do that.
All right. Is there money involved? I'll do it. You want me to sell drugs? I'll do it.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. That's why my when I did marketing for Sam's Club, for I guess you'd call it marketing.
Yeah, you were sales and marketing.
Yeah, I did sales. I really wasn't good at it at all. I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't mind talking to people. I didn't mind going to locations, but just to get the people, new members. And I mean, like, honestly, my experience would be like, hi, I'm Bill. I work at Sam's Club. You want a cookie? Great. Here you go. Do you want to get a Sam's Club card? And they'll be like, oh, I just used my mom and my dad's, but I'll take the cookie. And I'll be like, okay, I can't beat that. Have a cookie. Like,
Bill, your numbers are atrocious.
Like, Bill, what?
We've actually lost members because of you.
Like, it's that's just, I couldn't do marketing because they'll be like, well, you got to push that person to get it for the rewards. I don't want rewards that bad that I'm going to just give up the free membership for my mom and dad just to go pay it. I'm a single bachelor. No, like, that's why I was terrible at marketing.
It runs into an ethical dilemma too, where you're trying to force somebody to consume their product.
Yeah.
And
shove it down their throat.
Yeah. And to me, that's why 90% of salesmen that I've ever encountered are scum. I don't care. I'm going to say it like you know what? And my mother-in-law is in sales, and I'm sorry. I love you. I know you're providing a quality product, but 90% of the people that work in sales are not providing quality products. These companies, they need those types of people to push that kind of stuff in sales and marketing and strategies and whatnot, because they know that their product is crap.
Yeah.
And so let me finish this article real quick, and then we'll discuss further. So they reached out to JD Power, and they got in contact with Mike Graywit, and they questioned him on all of this, and Mike Graywit's response was interesting. He says that actually, let me frame the question here. JD, so they responded that there's nothing inappropriate about licensing its name for use by others. So the question is do you find any kind of like ethical dilemma here? And the guy's like, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with licensing. There's nothing inappropriate about it. In fact, his direct quote was, "It's no different from any company that licenses its name for use on a product." He said, Disney, for example, licenses its name. So does Coca-Cola. The difference, of course, is that neither Disney nor Coke presents itself to consumers as some kind of what he calls an ostensibly neutral arbiter of other companies' goods and services. J.D. Power and Associates does. The firm, which was acquired in March for an undisclosed price by publishing giant McGraw-Hill, is intensely tight-lipped about the fees that it charges other companies. That's proprietary, Graywit said. But in open secrets in the business world, that annual licensing fees in fact costs a pretty penny, running in some cases, or so we've heard, more than the price of a top-of-the-line Mercedes-Benz. Ooh, yeah, that's a lot. That's a pricey license there. The article continues on. It cites another website, brandchannel.com, carconnection.com. Read it for yourself, make your own inferences. The one other thing is that they call into attention is J.D. Power says that we put a value on the license because you want to be respected, he said. If you're not respecting yourself, it devolves into not receiving any in return. Graywit put it this way: you pay for value. When you want a luxury car, you pay for the value of the car. As for J.D. Power reaping additional revenue by selling trophies to award recipients, Graywit said that this is a perfectly ordinary business practice. It's all part of merchandising a product, he said. Disney merchandises products, Coca-Cola merchandises products, everybody merchandises products. Now let me throw my 2 cents at this BS for a second, okay? Yeah, everybody does merchandise a product.
Yeah.
But also everybody actually provides you with a product. You're not providing a product,
a physical product.
No, you're throwing a bunch of information together, and then you're coaching people on how to get onto the list of awardees for next year, and then you're charging them for that list, and then you're charging them if you win an award. It doesn't, like, I'm sitting here going, like, does this not draw any kind of ethical line whatsoever? With Coke, if I go and buy Coke's product, I actually get something tangible. If a Coca-Cola. If I buy something from Disney or I go to Disney's theme park, I have a tangible experience or a tangible item. There's nothing tangible that's coming from this. I'm torn here. So to me, part of the issue here lies in is J.D. Power and Associates is A, they're completely full of crap. And B, anybody who's actually buying into the hype that J.D. Power and Associates and their ratings can actually provide the consumer with anything of any use whatsoever, well, then go ahead and keep buying your GM products and let me know how they break down after 4 or 5 years. I'll keep driving a Toyota.
Yeah, it's kind of like again, the little league game. The little leaguer goes and gets his participation award, and the guy's like, "Here you go. That'll be $20."
Well, we gotta keep.
Okay, here you go.
We have to do something to make sure that the little league stays alive, right? I paid my dues.
What?
Well, but a large part of the difference is with the little leaguers. That's probably most likely a nonprofit organization that's ran by the town, and
yeah. We never. I remember when I played a little bit back in the day. It was like $50 or something like that for the year, and all that really was to buy shirts and like some photos,
and then probably the trophies for whoever won.
Yeah, and then it was like probably to buy some equipment, some baseball bats.
Yeah, back when we were kids, you actually had to win to get a trophy.
Whoa, I didn't get a trophy, did I? I haven't gotten a trophy, so
I guess you never won.
I think I would remember if I did. So
maybe next time try winning.
Yeah,
you'll get a trophy.
I was an outfielder guy.
Actually, and you know what? What's really great is in this society, you could just identify as a 6-year-old and go destroy the competition.
Oh boy. That's
It's not far removed from the truth.
boy, that sure is something.
I got. So, anyways, JD Power and Associates, you're literally selling nothing. Y'all guys quit buying this snake oil, man. This is just garbage.
I'm gonna sell my name.
50 cents.
Bill 10, I could prove this product.
Yeah, okay. If you know what? If you can market yourself to that degree, I think we need to get your lighting down first before we can actually market you as some kind of.
First step, lighting. Second step, my pose. I could do the thumbs up, the single thumbs up, the like, or the, kind
like
of pose.
the Randy Savage pose.
What?
The cream rises to the top.
Off balance, on balance, it doesn't matter.
That's the Rock.
No, that's
It
not the
doesn't
Rock.
matter.
Off balance, on
No,
balance.
you said
He
it
says-
doesn't
he-
matter
he
though.
said- Yeah.
Oh,
Off balance, on balance,
okay,
it doesn't
all right,
matter.
All right. I'm sorry.
This
I'm
guy.
sorry. I apologize.
You know what? Give me your podcast. I'll run it. Idiot.
You know what, Bill?
You know,
Hey,
See you next month,
I do.
Bill.
I got a question. Do you enjoy doing this podcast for real?
I know what's going to happen if I answer this question. Yes.
Okay, good.
Oh.
So keep your attitude in check.
I thought you were going to hit me with the rock.
Go stand in the corner.
Yeah. Okay.
But you didn't. Oh, come on. You didn't want to go stand in the corner.
It's just me.
It doesn't matter if you want to stand in the corner.
It doesn't matter. They got him.
I might have to edit that out. It sounded like I clipped.
Can't edit out the rock.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about today. This is horrible. There were at least 9 people. This is what the article says. Sorry, at least 9 Americans killed in Mexican highway ambush. The dead includes 8-month-old twins, said Kendra Lee Miller, who's related to many of the victims, and there were at least 8 survivors. This was published at 1:15 a.m. on November 5th. So let's go through the article real quick, and then we'll talk about it. So at least 9 U.S. citizens, including 6 children, were killed in a massacre in the Mexican border state of Sonora on Monday. A relative to many of the victims told this to NBC News. The dead included an 8-month-old twins, said the family member Kendra Lee Miller. Some of the 8 survivors, all of whom are children, sustained serious injuries. Miller said a 9-month-old child was shot in the chest and a 4-year-old was shot in the back. The attack was described by local media as a highway ambush. Willie Jessup, who is related to one of the victims, told NBC News by phone from Utah that the attack occurred on a motorcade consisting of several families and that the survivors at the scene told him that 3 cars were shot at and 1 was set on fire. Everyone was in so much shock, Jessup said, adding that he has been in contact with the Mexican federal officials and with the FBI. It's just unbelievable that there's just no way to comprehend it. The victims were identified by Miller as Christina Marie Langford Johnson, 29, Donna Langford, 43, Trevor Langford, 11, and Rogan Langford, 2.5. Also killed were Ronita Miller, 30, Howard Miller, 12, Crystal Miller, 10, and the 8-month-old twins, Titus and Tiana Miller. Kendra Lee Miller recounted the dramatic details from the children who survived the attack. A 13-year-old, Devin Langford, escaped uninjured and then walked for about 14 miles to Lamora for help after hiding his wounded siblings in bushes and covering them with branches, she said. Meanwhile, Mackenzie Langford, 9, had gotten grazed in the arm with a bullet, but after Devin did not come back, she also went to find help. Miller said Mackenzie got lost and walked for hours in the dark before she was found by search parties. Wow. The families had been going about their day-to-day lives when they came under siege, Miller said. Ronita Miller was on her way to a shopping trip in Arizona with her family. The others were going to Chihuahua to visit relatives. This isn't all the article, but I gotta inject something here. What the hell are you doing in Mexico?
Yeah. Yeah, that's oh boy. That's some dangerous area.
And I'm not trying to I'm not trying to pinpoint or blame them for this, or I know it's not their fault that they were attacked, but I
Mhm.
have to ask, why are you in Mexico? What business do you have in that country? It's not a secret. Listen, we live in Texas,
Yeah,
right? We know that there's crazy stuff that goes on down at the border.
some bad juju over there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not up for debate. Why are you in Mexico? What in the world are you thinking? I don't go to Mexico. You know why? Because I'm neon white. People
Yeah,
like me
it's
don't last very long over there.
no. Yeah, yeah. It's I mean, don't get me wrong, I would like to go over there, vacation at some of the resorts, but like going into the heart of actual Mexico?
Well, this wasn't the
Hmm.
heart. These guys were only 90 miles from the border.
No, I mean like the non resort areas, the tourist areas they
Ah,
got over
yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I see
Mm.
what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Quite
Uh,
good.
the article says that there was no immediate indication of who was behind the attack. El Universal, probably pronounced Universal, sorry if I'm getting that wrong, one of Mexico's largest newspapers quoted other relatives as saying that the members of a Mormon family were killed in what appeared to be an organized crime ambush. The attack comes amid a wave of violence in Mexico in recent weeks, shocking even for a country used to more than a decade of intense drug war brutality. The most notable incident was a military style cartel assault that forced the government to release a leader of the Sinaloa cartel in October. So, if that line right there doesn't tell you anything, listen, Mexico is a dangerous place. They the cartel has basically got the government in its claws, and we're kind of at a crossroads right now. I heard earlier that actually it might even be here in the article. Let's see. Trump tweeted about it. Said wonderful family and friends in Utah got caught between two vicious drug cartels who were shooting at each other, with the result being many great American people killed, including young children and some missing. If Mexico needs or requests help in cleaning out these monsters, the United States stands ready, willing, and able to get involved and do the job quickly and effectively. The great new president of Mexico has made this a big issue, but the cartels have become so large and powerful that you sometimes need an army to defeat an army. This is the time for Mexico, with the help of the United States, to wage war on the drug cartels and wipe them off the face of the earth. We we merely await a call from you and your great new president. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I 110% agree with this.
Hmm. Um, I don't know. I myself need a little more details. My criminal justice study classes, we did a lot of stuff with the border and with the Mexican government and the cartels, and the cartels just have their those claws just really in there, and it seems like every other politician they talk about is a corrupt politician. It seems like. I mean, I could be wrong on that. I don't know. Like I said, I need more details. But that's what's pointing the picture, and it's just kind of like one of those things. Till proven otherwise, that's what I'm going to believe. Going in there, like with a full military force, again. I
Well,
mean,
we're not
honest.
waging war on Mexico.
Oh no, we're waging war on the cartel, but
This would be a joint effort.
but at what point is it different? Is what I'm saying. The corruption is everywhere. It's everywhere. Whole cities, whole political system and branches are under the cartel control. It's just, they have a lot of money to throw at it. They throw the money at this, and people's it's a really weird. So we need more details. And if we were to go work with them, I mean, I feel like it would be like when you were in Iraq. Did you trust the Iraqi police that would go with y'all guys?
I trusted them a lot more than a lot of the locals.
Okay, so you trusted every single Iraqi that you encountered.
No, that's an extreme statement. There's no
Yeah.
way that I would trust every single anything.
There were, when I was in Afghanistan, there were Afghanis that were, we were going on patrol, and as one of those, they're gonna go on patrol with us now. They'd be on their phone holding their M16 backwards, like, bye
Well,
bye
okay,
bye.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, you see where I'm coming at? Yeah, it's like, and we're like, who's this guy talking to? What's he doing? Why is that guy so close to that guy? What's going on here? Where are we at? I feel like we're gonna have one of those situations there. I feel like it wouldn't take too long till someone calls it another Middle East kind of situation. It's
Well,
really
fortunately,
getting
they're
fluid.
next door now,
Yeah,
and that's only one side of it. But you also have to take into consideration when you compare the Iraqi army, which is kind of a joke.
yeah,
Let's be honest, it's a joke. I
yep,
mean, we
yeah,
went over there in the first Gulf War, and they're like, "No, no problems, no problems." So it was 6 month endeavor, right? The army itself was a joke. So to compare the Mexican army with the Iraqi army, I don't see a correlation there between the two, because the Mexican army is, it's not like there isn't any kind of um, corruption. It's not like there's not any kind of corruption. Nobody doubts that there's not corruption in Mexico. I mean, why do you think we pushed for a wall so hard? But at the same time, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. And if their country or their president actually did come to us and say, "Yeah, all right, we want some help here," I would back it, because in the short term, yeah, it's messy. It's always messy. But in the long term, I start thinking about things like what's
yeah,
what's the
yeah,
world going to look like for my children?
yeah, yeah. If you're the forefathers saying, if there has to be war, let it be in my time, so my kids may know peace, kind of thing. Yeah, that's a very good, very good, uh, very good saying to know by heart and stuff like that. And you're 100% right. They are next door. I feel like people will still be like, no, that's their problem. And then we're here on Texas, like, that their problem is 20 feet away from me. Like, it's becoming our problem. Um,
Pacifism never solved anything.
right. Yeah. I would honestly, I would love to just be able to go in and help them too. It just seems like it's going to be real hard. And
Maybe we could
it's
work on bringing back a Norman Schwarzkopf.
right. Yeah. It's that, and the whole, and that the whole Iraqi military, Gulf War military to the Mexican military, that's kind of an iffy situation, but I get where you're going with it. I It's just, it's very awkward.
You're a
Because
little.
that question will always pop up in the criminal justice classes of a military action, and everyone will have something different. And they'd be like, "Well, who are you to say we do that?" And I'd be like, I'm the guy that's been there in that position. Like, I know.
Way and also likewise in the actual circumstance where the Mexican president actually did come forward and say, "Hey, yeah, you know what? This stuff is getting out of control. We need some help." Like, who would you want to call?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
these guys to the north, we should probably start being a little bit nicer to them, because
Mhm.
they're only the most strong world power that's ever been equipped in the history of the world. So, and they got a lot of power. They got a lot of firepower. Mexico doesn't have anywhere near the firepower that we have.
No, no. Mm-mm. I mean, the cartels are crafty, but they no,
You
they
can't.
can't match us.
Yeah, I mean, you could try, but
Yeah.
I mean, who are you going to enlist help from? China? You think China
Yeah.
is going to come help you? Get out of here. Russia? You think Russia's going to come and help?
Russian collusion? Question mark.
The cartels are going to be like, "Hillary Clinton, we need your help."
Yeah. Can I get the number for the Russians, please? um,
We sent you an email on it.
um, I don't know. I guess, if the Mexican president was like, this is what we got, and it was just a straightforward talk. It was a straightforward dialogue. This is what we got. This is the people I have. This is the people I have in question. This is what's going on. These are my assets. This is where we got locations at. We'd really like you to come and help us. I'm like, I'm all for it. Let's go.
We'll be home
Uh,
by dinner time.
be home by dinner time. Now, this is two veterans talking that have a reasonably kind of good idea how the military kind of works. You know,
Fair
pretty safe to
point.
say we have. What I'm worried about is the person that doesn't know how any of this works, who has never been in the military. And I kind of had this epiphany the other day that war military actions now have become kind of a PR. A lot of it has become PR since we have social media everywhere. You know, a video from a Mexican cartel can go viral in 5 minutes.
Hmm.
You know, pictures are everywhere. You know, from Afghanistan, Iraq, and what are the people at home going to say? You know, a picture of a soldier standing over a dead Iraqi or something like that. It's like, oh my gosh, he killed him. Okay, that guy was threatening to blow me up. He literally said, "I'm gonna blow you up" in English to my face. Like the context is missing, but they see the photo and they're like, "That's
Yeah.
bad." See,
Yeah, you're talking about the common practices of the media where they see this big picture and then they zoom in and they show you this little teeny tiny spot on the
yeah,
picture. Look at this right here. Bad
yeah,
stuff. Bad stuff. And
yeah.
you know what? I've got a solution. This is a solution that will make every Democrat happy. Every liberal, every blue haired old lady that thinks that Bill Clinton was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Here's the solution for you. We're just going to send one of our Democrat politicians down there. I'm going to nominate Beto O'Rourke,
Ooh,
and we're just going to go ahead and ban drug cartels. Problem
yeah.
solved.
Problem solved. Problem staying solved.
That was
That's
easy.
how we do it
That was
because
easy,
we
right?
like to talk to people. Like,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
If we now think about it, if we just make drug cartels illegal, well, then they'll just stop being cartels. They'll turn themselves in.
obviously we know criminals won't break the law because that's a law. Duh.
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 Speaking of Beto,
Uh-oh.
you know he dropped out of the race, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it
He got.
turns out when you come after Americans' guns, they don't like you so much.
I loved listening to the guy talk because he'd be like, yeah, they'll turn in their guns because it's the law.
He was a little animated.
What? But they're like, and man, he pissed me off. He pissed me off there in the debate because which debate was where he was like, they're gonna ask me if we're gonna come after your ARs. Hell yes, we're gonna come after your ARs. We're gonna come after your AKs. Okay, first off, I'm not the most polite spoken guy. You're in like a public forum and you're not showing me you're professional or qualified for the job if you're going to come at me with that attitude. Like you're
He,
not.
yeah,
The language, check it.
he directly told you that he's going to come after your rights,
Yeah,
your Second Amendment rights, which is kind of funny because he's exercising his First Amendment right now in order to tell us that he's going to take away our Second Amendment right. Well,
we should
guess
just
what?
tell them we're going to take that away, and people be like, "What gives you that right? What gives you the right to take away my amendments?" Like,
Well, see, and this is another thing that really irks me. We got a few minutes left, so let's go over this real quick. And before we do, much love and respect to all the people that lost their lives. We're truly grieving for you, and we hope that there's some kind of peace that comes through this. And so,
oh yeah,
thoughts and prayers. And I know that offends some of you leftists, but thoughts and prayers up to
we're thinking of you. We're keeping you close.
absolutely. Now, that being said, these presidential elections, let's go back to this Beto thing real quick. These
Oh boy,
presidential elections, one thing that people seem to struggle in understanding is that the president doesn't have absolute power. So when he says, oh, yeah, well, we're going to come after all of your guns, yeah, you can't just do that. You have to actually get approval through Congress, and then you have to actually ratify the laws if the bill gets passed through both the House and the Senate. And then you're going to deal with all the lawsuits that come into play and all the judges that are going to say, oh, yeah, you can't do that. It's unconstitutional.
you're opening up a very awkward can of worms. It's very awkward. Like it's going to be bad. And my
Yeah.
whole thought process when something like that arose, because over the past decade we've had that arise several times, or that was coming in question our rights. Um, is I never thought of the politician's part. I always thought of the guy that they told to go get the guns. The cop, like, I want you to go get the guns. Me or me? Oh, I got asthma. I gotta go. like it's. I mean, you gotta think about it. Who has? It's. I don't think they understand just fully the can of worms they're opening up. You have West Texas, especially, is a good example. A bunch of veterans that just came back from a war that you trained us to fight in.
That's still going on.
Yeah, asymmetrical insurgency. We know the tips and tricks because we knew what to look for. And now you want to come and take our stuff. Hey, man, I've seen this movie before. It doesn't end very well. Like,
I don't want to be the one to tell you how to live your life, but you should probably think long and hard before you decide to come after veterans and their weapons.
It always goes back to that meme in my head of Upham from Saving Private Ryan. He's crying by the door, and he's like, when you're doing an ATF raid and you're the first one stacked on the door, and you hear the AK-47 rack and Fortunate Son start playing on the speakers, and he's just there. Like, it's boy, what a time we live in, right? What a time we live in.
We live in an amazing time, and you're absolutely right. The whole gun thing, the whole anti-Second Amendment thing. I mean, God, I'll probably get banned for even saying anti-Second Amendment on YouTube. Who the hell knows?
Uh-oh.
And that's fine. Whatever. It's not like I'm monetized anyway, so it doesn't matter that much. You can't control the things that are going to come out of my mouth. Sorry about that.
I just want it to be known that I didn't say it.
You probably, I'm sure you said something. We all say something. And in fact, you know what? I'm sure more than anything, I bet you there's one thing I know that they absolutely hate me saying.
What's that?
Do some freaking push-ups.
Oh. Hold on, wait a second. That's weird. YouTube's calling me? Hi? Hello.
All right, everybody. Bill, thank you once again for joining me. I'm really glad to have you along.
Hey, man. It's always a pleasure being here. I'm the most trustworthy guy in news today.
Not even close. All right, bye, everybody.
Doses.